Okay, I think we still have around 14-15 minutes, but we'll kickstart it a little earlier, Rabbi Kefa. We'll just do a little briefing on the situation at hand. As you've all been aware that technically, America, I would say, and Europe is in a proxy war, believe it or not. And Ukraine is the front. And just for your information, my sister-in-law happens to be from Ukraine. But having said that, you know, what I know about her situation is that she don't live there, but her parents live there. But they are close to the Poland border. They are safe, and people are heading from the cities towards Poland and into Slovakia and other countries nearby. So the situation there is pretty dire. But you've heard the rhetoric, you heard all the BS on the news, and you heard all the fake news probably that's put out in Europe, and you're not going to hear a piece of real news out there. I know that for sure, because there's a lot of fake news out there. Now on this end, on the east, we've got lots of news, lots of things developing, and Russia's come out as as a victor so far, and Russia's made mincemeat out of Ukraine, period. It's just knocked it left, right, and center, and it doesn't know whether it's coming or going. That's the reality on the ground. And the other reality on the ground that you don't know about is this: that Russia has a couple of other countries on its radar as well, which is going to go after. And I'm not privy to tell you about those countries, because the other thing that I did had a discussion with Rabbi Kefa on this, that from today and now on, we will only direct our messages to the doers and to the house of Israel that is in our midst. And I have your email addresses, and if I don't have your email address, if you don't get a private message from me or Rabbi Kefa, then please send me your email address and I will put it in the list, because when I send a private message, you should be the recipient of it if you are the house of Israel or you're part of the house of Israel. I don't care about the rest. I'm not going to run after Gentiles. I don't want to waste my time with them, and I'm not going to teach them anything. They're just going to get snippets, and they're not going to learn any Torah from us from now on. That's it. That decision was made last week, when I've been saying for a whole 2 years for people to come into compliance, and they did not come into compliance. And I've simply decided that it's time to move on. Rabbi Kefa has a growing up son and family to look at. I have a family, I have travels. I can't stand by a widow and say to her, if a widow comes to me and says, I haven't got food, what am I supposed to say to her? I'm sorry, I can't help you, because nobody wants to give me any tithes and tzedakah, right? Is that what I'm supposed to say? And the answer is that those of you that are part of the house of Israel, and those of you that are doers, you know that I've been very patient, and I put out a lot of time and effort of my life's work into this, and I will continue to support our people wherever they are. You will have access to myself, you will have access to Rabbi Kefa, but you will not have access, those of you that are just coming in the room, and your direction is not Torah compliance. Your direction is you're changing church from one church to another, and that church mentality is not what we teach. We teach that Torah laws that God penned up. I didn't pen those legislations and those rules and regulations. God did. And if you have a problem, you go take it up with God. And I certainly don't have a problem with them. I'm very happy with them. And in fact, I'm increasingly happy with them in the country where I live, because I see them operating all over the place here. So I'm very, very happy with them. And I'm going to say that those of you that are with us, make sure that I have your email address. Send it to my email, shimon63@yahoo.com, and I will make sure that you will get private messages from me for your benefit and your blessings and your family. Because increasingly, I have realized that putting out precious information is our forefathers were right that we should not be giving precious information to dogs and cats out there. Simple as that. And so I'm not going to do that either. I have Rabbi Kefa's email. You have my email, and I can put it over here for you. And if you need to connect with me, you can do so at shimon63@yahoo.com, SHIMOUN63@yahoo.com. Now, the world is divided. There is a geopolitical shift that's happening in the East. And you can see increasingly on your TV screens that the information in your media that you're getting increasingly is very biased. And, Russia is portrayed as a monster, and every country that's neutral at this end probably is seen the similar way. And you heard that how oligarchs were prejudicedly, were unjustly punished for a war that they probably had no part in. Because, if you're running a business and you're a business tycoon and Torah law does not permit for anybody to go out and punish an innocent party, irrelevant of his standing, whether he's rich or poor. Now, if you're going to punish oligarchs, and, it means that you will punish other people as well, whether they're innocent or guilty. And I, for one, know the history of US and European nations very, very well. I know their history. I know how they treated the people in the East, and we probably don't need to go into that because it's a long drawn out history. It's very bloody, and it's terrible history that we don't need to kind of occupy with that history any longer. But we need to just simply remember that we are part of the House of Israel, and those of you who are part of the House of Israel will always have access to the Kohen, wherever he may be. But if you are not part of the House of Israel, bye. Thank you very much for coming. Go and serve your churches. Go meet your pastors. Go do your singing and dancing over there. Because I'm not here for you. I'm not gonna teach people like that. I'm not gonna waste my time. And I'm simply saying goodbye to those people. Thank you for coming. And those of you who've been with us and have come along, you can be rest assured that till kingdom comes, I will be there. So with that, Rabbi Kefa, I'm gonna play my message and I'll hand it to you. Todah. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. Okay, so today, before we begin our Parsha, I just want to point out that we're in the month of Adar, which is we're almost getting close to the beginning of the new Hebrew year. In the, I would probably say, biblical calendar, 100%, and 100% in the Hanuk calendar. So March 21 is the start of the new year, and our Parsha over here, according to that calendar, is going to be from the book of Exodus. If I may, go there, and I will, then I can speak more about it. So let me open it up. It's going to be from Exodus chapters 30, verse 11. Now here, before I actually start going into the Parsha, I think maybe I need to say a few other things, and I'll say those before I get into the Parsha. So basically, as you know, there's been a war. I think it's about 8 or 9 days now, possibly 10 days, for the war that's happening in Ukraine versus Russia. And I did make a point, or at least made some views for you, that America, well, let's be honest about it. There's no point being dishonest about it. America and European nations are the instigators of this particular war because it is in their favor to have this war. Now, I don't think I need to spell it out why it's in their favor. And this is not a statement that I make because I'm against America or Europe. I actually am a resident of America and Europe. But the thing is this, that, it's all about business at the end of the day. Who benefits out of this business? And we, live in a country in which business is, dollars are given preference over everything else. I mean, this whole 2 years of the pandemic was all about, again, it did initially devastate the economic cycle, but then what happened afterwards is that pharmaceutical companies came up with billions of dollars of profit. So I don't think I need to spell it out. At the end of the day, even out of the pandemic, money was made. Big money was made. And out of this Ukrainian war, big money will be made as well by making more weapons, by making more weapon sales, by weaponizing countries, and the main countries that will be selling weapons will be America and Europe. So let's not be too squeamish about it. And I already said this, and I'll say this again, that I can put it in a polite way, that Mr. Zelensky is not a very smart man. Let me just put it politely. And Mr. Putin, on the other hand, is a very smart man. So I think that should just really spell it out. Who's right and who's wrong isn't going to be decided by me or you. History will decide that. But at the end of the day, we cannot put one side against the other and say Russia's to blame and Russia's done wrong and Russia's wicked and all this. Because at the end of the day, even Russia has a point that when you pit 30 countries in NATO against Russia, then clearly, and you arrive at the border of Russia, if you include Ukraine as the 31st country or the 30th country, and you come to their border, then you can't quite, honestly say that Russia is wrong to make a demand for Ukraine to be neutral. In other words, be its own country, have its own affairs, its own economy, its own weaponry, etc., etc. So that's basically where the battle lines are right now. The battle lines are all about Russia's asking for Ukraine to be neutral and to demilitarize. It means that you can't side with NATO and you can't arrive at Russia's border so you can spy on Russia all the time, and you can't gang up on Russia because Russia fears, or at least if fear is the wrong word, Russia is cautious that this could happen in the future. Therefore, they want to keep, distance. And I particularly, I think that all of you will agree with me that no one wants to live next to their enemy. I mean, who wants to live next to their enemy and have a next door neighbor as your enemy? Nobody. So I think we're kind of in a similar kind of situation where Russia doesn't want NATO to be stepping on their feet. And Europe, being Europe, always try to colonize other countries, always try to repress other countries. It is no wonder that Europeans been egging on Ukraine. And if Ukrainians are dying today, then don't blame Russia for it. I think you need to look back at how Europeans, and including America, our own country, has been egging them on and saying, come on, you can fight and we are with you. But NATO's not stepping in to fight. NATO's only with them in word and deed. Not in deed, but just in word. So that's where that situation is. Now, I also wanted to point out that this is a month that all the so-called House of Israel, that call themselves House of Israel, you are supposed to give a half a shekel offering, which is, by the way, commanded in the Torah. And I can read that out to you, if you may. It says in the Torah portion that Yud-Heh-Wah spoke to Moshe, saying, when you take the census of the children of Israel for their number, then every man shall give a ransom for himself to Yud-Heh-Wah when you number them, that there may be no plague among them when you number them. Okay, so and the amount that was given was said that it was half a shekel offering. Half a shekel offering today is like half a coin of silver. I mean, you can decide today what that would be in, Moses' time during this month of February, March, month of Adar. Half a shekel was basically half a coin of silver. Today, you can work it out what a half a coin of silver is, and that will be the offering that you would make to me if you are calling yourself a house of Israel or the children of Israel. If you're not the children of Israel, then it doesn't apply to you. Okay? So this only applies to you if you consider yourself Torah-abiding children of Israel, half a shekel offering. Now, I could say that, to be honest, to make it easier for you, I could say that this might be today, let's just say for argument's sake, equivalent to $10. For argument's sake, $10 is an offering to just show that you're part of Israel or you're not part of Israel. Now, I also want to point out that I'm not a Kohen for the entire world. Okay, I'm a Kohen for the house of Israel, for those that are children of Israel. Now, and also those that are children of Israel, those that actually are compliant to the Torah. Not everybody, by the way. I'm not a Kohen for everybody who call themselves Israel, because they're not compliant to the Torah. So if they're not compliant to the Torah, I am not their Kohen. I don't care where they go. They can go to, wherever, and I couldn't care less, basically, and I wouldn't. So I've also decided that with Rabbi Kefa, in conversation with me, that I'm not going to waste my precious time over here giving precious teachings of Torah to everybody, Joe and public, and for nothing, basically. I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is I will highlight and I will point out certain Torah points which may be important for everybody or which may not be important for everybody. If you call yourself Torah, then it may be important for you. If not, then that's okay. So you don't have to come in. If you feel that you're not inclined that way, you don't really care what Moses has to say, then you're wasting your time over here. You shouldn't be here, period. Okay, so I have students worldwide, and I will only deal with those students who actually are compliant to the Torah. Means that they are tithe paying, they're zakah paying, they're abiding to the Torah, they listen, they at least, maybe some of them can't because of where they live, but others can, and they are trying at least to keep the Sabbath, keep the festivals. They're trying to keep the order that at least has been written in our ancient books. So yeah, I'm their Kohen for that matter, and I will always be their Kohen, and I will always be supportive of them. I will always guide them behind the scenes. I will always be there for them behind the scenes. All they need is an email, and if they have my telephone number, they can call me, and if they have my WhatsApp, they can call me. No problem. I will always be there for them. Absolutely no problem. So, whereas for the rest of the people, since I'm not their Kohen, it doesn't really matter which way they go, and I don't care if they become, beggars on the street or they become the next billionaire. It doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day. That's really where this is going, and I feel that, and Rabbi Kefa included, that we are family men. We have families. And Rabbi Kefa would like to spend more time with his son and his family, and I can understand that. And I have to spend time traveling. I have to spend time meeting with people and things to do, etc. So we will still have our classes, but they will not be as long and as prolonged. They will be shorter classes from now on. And if I need to give a message to my students, I will send it directly to them. I know who they are. I know their telephone numbers or email addresses, and they will get the message for their benefit, for their blessings. Because now it's going to be strictly House of Israel versus the rest of the world. So this is how it's going to be from now on. And also, having said that we'll keep the public forum open for those that are maybe inclined to at least listen to what Moses has to say. And so the Torah will be always, the room will always be open on Shabbat, Saturday, for these kind of people who may be inclined to listen and obey. And if you're just inclined to listen and waste your time and my time, then of course, I'm not forcing you to be here, and neither you're you got chain around your neck to be over here. You're a free man, free woman, and you can go your merry way. I'm more than happy about that. But those of you that are my students that have come along with me, that have been with me for many of these years, and will continue to be with me, I'm pretty certain of that, then, this is for you. That you will be specially given messages which will benefit you, your families, your lives. And they should, because, if those people that obey the laws that God has penned for us thousands and thousands of years ago, they should definitely benefit from being obedient to them. Now, in the same manner, I wanted to give you something that may help all of you who are listening today, and that is this. There are many things that happen in our industry that are happening, but we do not, criticize everything that happens out there. We don't need to. There are many things that happen that are for, that generate dollars for various people, but we're not here to criticize the rest of the world, and we are definitely not here as policemen of the world. So we don't have to speak out against everything that happens out there, although we know, what's happening and what's not happening. So that's another thing. The other thing is, for those of you that asked, the easiest way for you to donate any offerings, any tithes that you do, you got a number of ways. You got my cash account, which is $SIMALT, it's $SIMALT. You got my email address, SHIMON63@yahoo.com, Shimon63@yahoo.com. You got my, those of you who have my website address, Abrahamic-Faith.info, INFO, or Forever-Israel.com. There is donate now button there. There's several ways that you can do that. So there should be absolutely no problem for you. Those of you who want to be part of Torah, those of you who want to remain part of Torah and be part of the blessing, then you know how to connect with me as well. The email address is there, Rabbi Kefa's telephone number is there. There are many ways that you can reach us. We're not hiding in some closet, and we're not in a bunker, put it this way. Ukrainian bunker, by the way. So actually that's a safe place for Ukrainians right now, is to remain in a bunker. So having said that, now coming back to the point, the money spinner. Majority of the diseases that our people and people out there today are facing, they do not realize that it is from the very foods that they eat. And one of those foods that they eat is touted as tremendously helpful and tremendously great for you is milk, cow's milk or buffalo's milk. That food, by the way, is the worst thing that you can eat or drink, because you might eat it as a custard or as a pudding or something, or you might drinking as a liquid. So either way, I just wanted to point out that those of you who want to kill yourself early, and be my guest if you do want to kill yourself early, because again, it doesn't really matter to me if that's where you want to go. But the reality is this, that milk is extremely, extremely bad for you. And I want to point out how and why in one of the richest countries in the world, which is America, why we have the number one disease in America, because even though we have good foods, meaning that there's no, corruption in food as in other countries, everything that happens in America is got either a FDA approval or some organization's approval. In spite of that, our number one killer in America is heart disease, heart attack, by the way. Why? Question is why? Why are young people and middle-aged people dying from heart attack? Why so many people have blood pressure? And the answer is very simple. Milk. Milk is one of those things that people tell you is great, it has great calcium, blah, 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 and they give you all this spin on everything about milk. And by the way, that is total garbage. Milk, they tell you milk is great in calcium. In fact, the truth is that milk robs your bones of calcium. The proteins that milk contain are extremely in high quantity, and our bodies doesn't even know how to break it down. Okay, and because of this, calcium happens to be an excellent acid neutralizer. So from here we can understand why our body's bones are the calcium out of our bones. When you drink milk every day, your fresh milk from the cows or buffaloes, why you realize that why your bones calcium is being leached out to neutralize the acid and therefore make your bones weak and give you brittle bones and give you diseases that are very popular in the West, like osteoporosis, breast cancer, heart attack, blood pressure, even I'll go so far as to say diabetes, liver diseases, kidney diseases. The range is just humongous because one glass of milk that you drink, every glass of milk that you drink leaches calcium out of your bones. And if you knew that fact, if you really knew this fact, you wouldn't touch milk with your, lips is too far away. You wouldn't touch it with your fingers. But there is actually a milk that you can drink. Like I did say last time, that you can drink milk that is artificially made. You can drink powder milk. That is great because the milk protein, the saturated fats in milk, when milk is evaporated, when it's boiled, evaporated, and put in powder or some other form, then those reduce in much greater size. The saturated fat in milk reduces in a large amount in evaporated type milk, and so it becomes more palatable for us humans. We're not little cow babies. We're not little buffalo babies. We don't need to, grow to 1,000 pounds in a year. So really, milk is for those. Milk is for those little babies from cows and from buffaloes that want to grow to 1,000 pounds and make a sale for those cattle at $5,000 or whatever dollars a piece they are these days. So unless you are a little cow, unless you're a little, I should say, cow baby, a cow, with a little cow baby or a cow, you shouldn't be drinking normal, milk from a cow or from a buffalo because it's very bad for you. But if you do, you're going to cut your own life to half, maybe less, and you're going to die an early death. And maybe that isn't the benefit of the governmental systems in the West because they don't have to pay a pension out, right? If they don't have to pay a pension out, they're probably happy that, okay, that's great, these people will die before they're 66 and at least one burden of our back. So milk and cheese have both been linked to prostate cancer. Men out there, listen. Both of these milk and cheese have been linked to prostate cancer. And you can just go Google and check how many men have prostate cancer in the West. I don't need to give you the numbers. You also have in milk lactose intolerance. A lot of people get digestive problems from the lactose, resulting in what? Nausea, cramps, gas, bloating, and of course, the infamous diarrhea. So, if that is not enough, what is? Okay, let me give you something else. Acne on your face. Women hate it. Girls hate acne. But milk gives you that, okay? So when you start getting too much acne on your face, consider you got it from milk. You might be drinking a lot of milk. So milk, natural milk in any shape and form is industrialized. It's maybe over $1 trillion industry. Nobody wants to give up milk because, it makes a lot of dollars. But for women, it's immense. Breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and other types of cancers, they all come from milk and milk allergies on top. Now, those of you who know that, cows, animals are also given antibiotics. They're also given the GmbH, the growth hormone, and that can cause all sorts of cancers as well. So what do you do with that? I think the only thing you can do is not touch it. And by the way, those of you pizza lovers, I wouldn't encourage you to eat a pizza every day, but if you wanted to eat pizza once in a while, maybe, I don't know, a couple of times a month, it might not be such a bad idea. But those of you who are regular pizza eaters and cheese eaters, it is a bigger source of saturated fat, and it should be avoided at all costs because it's a killer as well in your arteries. It narrows your arteries. It causes all sorts of problems and causes all sorts of diseases. So don't for a second think that is great for you. And you know how many of our children in the West are overweight. Now, as I told you earlier, milk was designed for a cow or a buffalo's baby who wanted to grow to 1,000 pounds. Now, do you want your baby to be 1,000 pounds? Of course not. So, if children are getting overweight, then you know why, and you know how to avoid that. The cheese that a lot of people love in the West, over here, thankfully, over here, I don't eat any cheese. It is available in stores, big stores, but I forget it. I'm not really, a cheese fan, so I don't eat it. But cheese is a bigger source of sodium, and sodium, as you know, normal sodium is salt, and apparently, if you didn't know, cheese has more salt than in seawater. Okay, think about that for a second. So, would you like to drink seawater every day? And if you're eating cheese slices on your bread, then that's exactly what you're doing. That's how it's breaking down in your body, by the way. So again, be very, very mindful of what you do. This information I'm giving you in love. This is in love. And this is for my students as well. Because, God has promised us long life, but there's also other things. It's not just long life. I asked one of my students over here, long life comes with obedience, with Torah compliance, but a lot of you are not Torah compliant. So again, ask yourself, are you going to have long lives when you're not Torah compliant? I asked one of my students over here, I said, Abraham, our father Abraham, had thousands of animals. We read about them. They're mentioned in our holy books. They're mentioned in the Bible. They're mentioned even in the Quran, in the Islamic holy book. So I said, why is it that in our holy books, in the Torah, why is it that it was never mentioned that Abraham sold milk? Because clearly, he had camels, he had cattle, and we are told that even his nephew Lot had cattle, loads of it as well. So it doesn't mention that Lot was selling cattle's milk, but it doesn't mention Abraham was selling cattle's milk. But it does tell you that both of their herdsmen had a fight, right? So how come it never mentions that they sold milk? How come there's not a commandment in there that says sell milk? Think about it for a second. I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about what was Abraham's business. And by the way, it wasn't selling milk. That's for sure. So, and the rest is really history. The rest is really history because, I don't want to teach you history, but I just want to, make this nice and sweet and nice and short, that the Pasha really says that this, you've got to give half a shekel of silver for your redemption. Now, if those of you who are part of the Torah and would like to do that, then, get in touch with Kefa. I've already told you how to do it on my side. There's several ways. There's a Cash App, which is $SIMALT. If you send your tithes, you can send it to the Abrahamic-Faith.info or Forever-Israel.com website through the Donate Now and mark your tithe. And Zadaqah, that is 20%, 10% plus 10%. Those of you who send in just a half a shekel offering, that I told you can just do like a goodwill $10 offering, and it's again can be sent in those ways, and you can mark it half shekel. Okay, and other than that, I think that the Pasha speaks about Moses going away, going up on the mountain, and the people of Israel becoming impatient and, making a calf downstairs while Moses is upstairs in the mountain. And Moses comes down and they're dancing with the idol. And to me, this almost seems like that, I can say 1 million times to you that you should be compliant to the Torah, pay your tithes, pay your offerings, but you still like to dance with your idols. So if you want to dance with your idols, continue dancing with your idols, because you won't be hearing from me, that's for sure. So with that, this is where we are. we are now divided into two worlds. One world dances with the idols, and one world is compliant with the Torah. So I leave you with that kind of information, that this was also the time that when Moses came down with the tablets, when the 10 Commandments were given. So it's an extremely important time that we understand that point. So there's many other things I can say, but I like to keep this simple, keep this short. I've given you this information today, that so you may know for your own personal health. Now, as for the rest of you, if I need to send any further messages, if I'm missing anybody, if I have missed anybody, if I do, in error, miss somebody, then please, just forward me an email. Then if you're a tithe payer and you pay your Zadaqah and you pay your tithes, just forward me an email that I have you on my record, that, you're a person that I need to be in touch with and reach out to, so that, I can bless you with the correct information to benefit your life and your health and your family. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Rabbi Kefa. Thank you very much for listening. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shalom.
Okay, Tada Rabbi HaKohen. Let me get this going here real quickly here. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpah. If I could be heard, can I get a one? I want to do there, Tada. Do a quick mic check, and then we'll keep it moving forward real quickly. By the way, there has already been a flash clash that has already went out this past 6 days of labor. If you haven't gotten it, then you need to contact us. It has already gone out. The great lecture, by the way, Akohid, it has already gone out. And what happens is that you'll get an email, and then you'll click on a link that'll take you to YouTube. It'll take you to YouTube, and then you can listen into the lecture as well. And that's going forward. I mean, again, we're Israel, and we're sojourners, so we're always moving. We're moving and shaking, Baruch Hashem. And so there has to be an evolution. It has to happen. Now, Kohen is probably, first of all, this parsha that we're dealing with, when we look at Kitisa, it's dealing with a census, correct? For those of you who have read your parsha. Oh, and by the way, before I do that, I'd like to give thanks to Rabbi Benia. I don't know how many of you frequent the website forever-israel.com or Abrahamic-Faith.info. Anybody frequents the website? I'm going to tell you this going forward. I would encourage you all, for those of you all who want to continue to dance with the cow, you may want to hang on to that website and really utilize it. There's a lot of great teaching and a lot of great instruction on that website. A lot of questions that can be answered for those of you who listen via Facebook or you listen via YouTube. You can go to that website and get tons of information, tons of instruction that's going to really benefit you going forward on our way of life and our way of living. Not everybody's suited for the Torah. I understand it and I get that. But the Torah will keep moving. It's evolutionary. It moves. It will continue to move. When I take my last breath and sleep with my Father's, Torah will still be moving, Baruch Hashem. And so Torah will continue to move. I understand that, a lot of folks, they can't catch up with the Torah, or they just need a little bit more, what they say, time. They need time to evolve, or really, search out and seek out for themselves this way of life, this way of living, because it truly is not for everybody. And just like you've seen in the pattern of our history and of our ancient books, it's not, humanity's, not everybody's willing to accept this way of life, this way of living, and embrace it, because that's what it is. It's not a religion, by the way. If you're here for a religion, you're in the wrong place. But if you want to live life, and then you want the tools that assist you to live your life, and that life on your terms, full of peace, love, joy, and happiness, all the default settings of humanity, then you're in the right place. And I get that. So, and if you do need time to decide, then, you hang on to the website, forever-israel.com, utilize it. There's a lot of great information on there. And I'd like to give thanks to Rabbi Benia for the update on the Enoch calendar. How many of you follow Enoch's calendar? If you're Hillel 1, Hillel 2, hey, so be it. We're not going to discriminate. But I love Hanak's calendar. It's been updated. How many of you saw the update that Rabbi Benia did? It's nice and fresh and looks beautiful, right? I really love that. I really love the calendar he did. Tada for that, Rabbi Benia. But back to the census, and I'm going to take a census today. I want to take a census. Now, you know, the census that was taken here, when we look at it, and again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Truth We Break Scrolls. We look at it here in here in Exodus chapter 30, starting at let's look at verse 12. When you take the census of the children of Israel for their number, then every man shall give a ransom for himself. Note, look at what it says, that every man. Torah tells us that every man should take the census. But I'm gonna leave it open today, 2022, for every man and woman in this room who are alive right now. I'm going to take a census right now. How many of you, and I'm going to ask you this question. The census is in question form. How many of you believe that Rabbi Simon Alteb is a Kohen? How many? Put up a K. If I'm taking a census. How many of you say, hey, Rabbi, I know Rabbi Simon Alteb. He's a Kohen. Not only you know that you know. You feel that he's a Kohen. You've seen the works. I mean, this man, you're reading, majority of you probably read from his Bible that he transliterated, back for our benefit. I tell you, that's timely. And I tell you, let me tell you something. The first gift that was given to my son by the Kohen was a Bible, was the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. And he actually signed it and left a little message for Nachshon. I mean, that's how, out of all the gifts, you think, baby needs some, diapers and wipes. No. The Torah, our Bible that was, penned and written and transliterated by HaKohen. Isn't it what a beautiful gift, right? And Nachshon has it. We have it right now. And we're actually fixing up his room right now. His room, Nachshon has his own room. And we're fixing up his room right now, and that Bible will definitely be, placed in a special place, because the Bible holds dear to me, and Nachshon will come to learn the very same thing. So, in saying that, so you believe that HaKohen is a Kohen. Tada for your responses, by the way. I'm just taking census now. I'm just taking a census because again. I want you all to understand that women have a place in our way of living, in our way of life. Women have a voice as well. You get a lot of these, people that call themselves under the umbrella of the Torah, and they totally close the door to women. Women are separated. How many of you women in the room have been a watcher and a witness to what I just stated? To where women are kind of like shunned, or like not really shunned, or maybe disrespected a little bit, or kind of, you put on the background, you really don't have no say. You're seeing it as lesser, to for your responses, women. Nope. That's probably why you were attracted here, because you realize that you have a voice, and that you're heard, and that you're respected. And I mean, that's what the Torah is all about. The original Torah, not this Torah that people have taken and added a lot of tradition and custom and added their own quote unquote overstanding to and all this, that, the other. No. We're not dealing with that. And this is why I would encourage you all, not only the women, but everybody in this room. And this is why the census was open to all. You all have a voice. You all have a say. And I tell you, I get a lot of, and I know HaKohen will tell you this as well. You get a lot of great insight and a lot of great wisdom. And some of you men in the room will say the same thing. My wife told me this, and I was thinking about something, and my wife said this, and that, and it really helped me make my decision. And it really helped me. It gave me that, that confirmation that I can move forward and make my decision this way. So believe me, women, you do have a place. You are heard here. So I would encourage you all to continue to stay at the feet of the Kohen. And not just me saying this, but support him as well. It's easy to sit here and take a census and hit a button like a keyboard warrior. You say, oh yeah, I can text that in, yeah. But support the Kohen then. Because I'm going to take you right to what our holy books say. Right to what our holy books say about the matter. And it doesn't say support, but it actually says, don't forsake. Don't forsake. For your sake, don't forsake the Kohen in the gate. And this will probably be the last time that you get a lengthy lecture, and it's not going to be that lengthy, but I'm really going into detail because I really want to explain to you who's listening on Facebook or you're listening live, because I do note on YouTube, a lot of people do go in and listen to these lectures. They go in. I look at the numbers and, people do listen. So this is of great value to a lot of folks. And, my goodness, and, so the opportunity is there. Don't fail to not jump on the opportunity, continue to grow and to continue to better yourselves. We're told not to forsake the Levite. You all said that, majority of you did that, HaKohen is a Kohen. He's a Levite. He's a son of Aaron. But let me read this first I want to look at Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31. Again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, Hidden Truth Break Scrolls. For Yahweh your power is a merciful El. He's a merciful power. Now I'm going to tell you, HaKohen, you want to know one of the most merciful men, more patient men that you ever meet. Yeah, it's been approximately 2 years, and I'm being conservative. That HaKohen has been, telling the family, okay, you got to come into complete compliance, not halfway, but all the way. I'm paraphrasing. You got to, if you really want to see your life go to the levels where you want your life, infinite abundance, infinite, health, wealth, prosperity, peace, love, joy, then you have to come in all the way. You can't be doing the electric slide with the cow, but then want to come in on the Shabbat dance like David. you know what I mean? It just, you can do it, but, the physical presentation and manifestation on the ground of how your life is going to turn out, you'll see it. The evidence will be there laid out before you. Now, if you can accept it, that particular evidence or reject it, then that's on you. But again, there's something that's inside of you. You have the DNA of El Shaddai. There's something that's inside of you that's telling you, look, I'm all in or it's nothing. Or I want better. I want better. I want the best. You shouldn't be saying you want better. You want the best for your life. You want the best life for you and your families going forward. There's a lot of great information, a lot of great instruction that's going to come out going forward. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I can see the impulse. My mother wisdom is taking us to another level now. We're going to another phase. We've packed up the tent and now we're sojourning again. Do you understand that when our forefathers, the Hebrews, were wandering in the desert, that every time they stopped, they didn't put up the tent of appointed times every single time. It wasn't put up. It was only at the appointed time that the tent of appointed times was put up. See, there's appointed times. It's like right now, this particular time, day, moment, this Shabbat is an appointed time. It's an appointed time for us to take the next step to move forward and propel us to prosperity, to wealth, to infinite abundance. Haven't we seen that? Perfect health. Because we should have all these things. And lo and behold, what is HaKohen teaching us about? How to take care of our bodies. That's a very important concept. To sustain and preserve yourself. Baruch Hashem. So we see here in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31, that for Yahweh your power, he's a merciful El. My goodness. HaKohen's been sent back saying this for years. Now it's time to move on. It's time. It's that appointed time. He will not forsake you, Baruch Hashem. The Most High will never forsake us as a people. We forsake ourselves, right? You see, but, we've been conditioned to point the finger at everybody else instead of looking at self. We understand that we need to look at self and judge ourselves, right? Not judge other folks and what they're doing. I'm not going to judge, these countries and what Putin is doing over there. That's his war. And everybody said it. This is Putin's war. Yes, it is his war. And believe me, he's in complete control, by the way. But, so again, we forsake ourselves. Most High is never forsaking you. Well, you hear people all the time, oh, God has abandoned me. The Most High hasn't abandoned you. You've abandoned yourself. You went astray, you see? You went astray. You decided to make a choice. And now you see in the physical presentation or manifestation of the choice that you made, and you don't like it. So then you need to change. But a lot of folks are not willing to change or evolve or move on from that place where they are, where they're unhappy, to move to a place where they are happy. And sometimes that requires you actually picking up and actually moving somewhere else. You're Israel. It should not be too difficult. The Most High hand is not too short to help you, relocate and move to another place. If that's what you desire. For he will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore to them. Man, those covenants still stand today in 2022. Even more so, because we dispersed in the nations. We're not in that land flowing with milk and honey. We're in these other lands flowing with milk and honey. How many of you would affirm right now that you're in a land flowing with milk and honey? My goodness, let me put up a 1 on that one. I tell you, America is a land flowing with milk and honey, baby. I don't know about you, but America is a land flowing with milk and honey. It really is. It really is. I'm in a land flowing with milk and honey. Baruch Hashem. So these covenants, they still stand. They're still in place. Baruch Hashem. In this land that I'm in. But now, there has to be somebody to help and assist me. And the only person, and believe me, I've been seeking for the right, to get under the right teaching to really help me, give me guidance on what I need to do with this life. Because the question I've always had for my life is, what am I to do? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Who am I? And all those questions were answered in that Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Jews break scrolls. They gave me an answer. Now, there's a lot of understanding out here. There's a lot of, people putting out understandings and truths and facts and all of this. But where am I comfortable is what's important. Not what the consensus says. No, where am I comfortable? And that's the question you need to ask yourself. Where do you feel where you can say, man, I feel I'm at home now. I'm at peace with myself. I'm no longer in a mind field of confusion, but I'm in a meadow of peace. Baruch Hashem. I'm laying in a meadow of peace with all my little daisies up and everything. You see, I was in the shopping last night with the family, and this man comes up to me. He greets me. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Man, another day in paradise." He's like, "Huh?" He dropped his produce. He's like, "Oh, wow, I haven't heard that." I said, "What?" Well, it's true. It's true, and I'm just smiling and just so happy to be shopping and to have food. To have food, produce and food on the shelves. I'm in a land flowing with milk and honey, baby. Can everybody say that? Go ask the people in Ukraine or look at the video of the stores in Ukraine. Is there food on the shelf? Think about that for a minute now. Do they have food on their shelf? Man, they fighting over top ramen over there. And I go to my store. My goodness, take your selection of the noodles you want to choose from. You know what I mean? But the Most High, He hasn't forsaken me this far. I get that. So my question that I had for myself and for God at that time when I was a Christian, well, I didn't know what I was just me. I was in my closet and I said, hey, God, what is your will? Not, God, what do you want? I'm like, God, what's your will? What is your will? What is your will? I'm like, God, what do you want? What is your will? And that still small voice came to me like, no man's business. Or no woman's business. My will is my word. And that's that same word that Hakohim gave to my son, Nakshan, as a gift, who's now 2 years old now. Baruch Hashem. Hakohim says, Baruch Hashem, for his freedom and clear skies that we all enjoy. No bombs dropping on homes and et cetera, et cetera. Indeed, Hakohim. But yet, we always want to focus on all the negativity. And this ain't right. The man, this man, that, the other, and the third. I'm going to tell you, the majority of these oligarchs that they have in Russia today made their money off of the collapse of the USSR. When they collapsed, hey, they took advantage of it. My goodness. Learn from that. So-called family and family. We need to learn from that. So what are you saying, Rabbi Kefa? Do we prosper in all things? Yes, you do. You prosper in all things and in all situations. You prosperous. That's what my covenants say. And then the Most High just told me in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31, that He's not going to forsake me. He will not forsake me, and he's merciful. Baruch Hashem. Well, I'm coming in with a little baggage, Rabbi. The Most High is merciful. And you see that same character trait in Hakohi. And I continue to petition for more mercy and compassion and love on all of humanity. I don't care what title you give yourself or what religion you is. I can give two whoops about that. Let's talk. Let us reason together, man to man. You're a man. You're a human being. I'm pretty sure you want to take care of your family. You want things in life. You want them to be full of peace, love, and joy. And you want to facilitate that as a man. So let's talk as a man, you and I. That's what it's about. It's not about a freaking religion. It's about how you're going to live your life, how you're going to support your family on the daily, from day to day to day to day, and propel them and make them happy, make great memories with them as you go on in this life. Look at shit, what a great life. Everybody has adopted this so-called Bible. That's a history of our family. And every majority of humanity has adopted it or know of it. But how many of them understand how to apply it and take it? They don't, because they're being taught or they're listening to the wrong people. And that's something. And if you know that majority of the blacks and browns on the face of this earth, and I'm not prejudiced in any kind of way, they're the ones that really cling to that Bible. They'll take that Bible and they love it. They love the Bible. Now, here in North America, let me just do a case study. Here in North America, those of you who know your history, the majority of the blacks and browns, and when I talk about geographical location here in North America, where do the majority of the blacks and browns live? Can anybody tell me? Geographical location. Can anybody tell me where the majority of the blacks and the browns live here in North America? Geographical location. Stop with your responses, by the way. There's no trick question. It's just your opinion, but let's look at the factual history of where people live, right? If you look at the census that they do, the government census that they do, they'll tell you that the majority of the demographics state that the majority of the blacks and the browns, they live in the South. Oliver, you're spot on. And Oliver lives in France. You're spot on. Oliver, you read my notes. And they call the South the what? The Bible Belt. Because, you see, blacks and the browns, they embrace the Bible, but yet they don't understand it. I heard a man say this, and this was wisdom. He said this. He said, man, the blacks and the browns, they quick to source and put their money together and their currency together to build a church. They quick to do that. They can put up a church and erect a church in a minute. But how many blacks and the browns are quick to pool their sources together to put together a business? Ooh-wee! That's wisdom in that, isn't it? Listen to what that man said. I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Man, they put up churches like no man's business. Man, they'll come together, get the funds together, and make that happen. But how many blacks and browns are getting together to do that, put that same energy into get a business together? Like our Cohen said in his lecture, it's all about business at the end of the day. It's all about business. Our forefathers was in business. Abraham was a businessman. You know what I'm saying? Abraham was a businessman, and he continued to gain more in business, and more and more. If you're wise, you understand. Our forefathers were experts at water wells. Y'all not listening? Y'all, come on now. I mean, how do you take care and maintain your families unless there has to be business involved in it? But it's important for Israel that we mind our business. We be all about our business. Don't worry about what the Joneses' business is. Mind your business. So again, all of this wisdom and instruction that you all are receiving, and it's coming from me. It's coming from my Kohen. That's where it's coming from. He's my teacher. I bow down and submit to my Kohen. He's who will always be, and I will always point all of you to the Kohen because that's where we need to be. I've seen a change in my life, and it didn't happen until HaKohen got in it, until I received HaKohen. I mean, my goodness, I'll never leave HaKohen. Never, ever, ever. I will always be there to support the Kohen. Always. I'm not leaving them. And I know he's not leaving me. He's loyal. He's loyal. Besides being merciful, another character trait of our people of the book. Y'all said, my life is changing. Oh, this is just the beginning. It gets better and better and sweeter and sweeter. Milk and honey, baby. That's what it is. I'm telling you. Everything you want, everything you desire can be. And it will be. And then we go down to Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 19. I want to read this. Now, according to the King James Version, the first time forsake is mentioned is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31. I'm sorry, the first time forsake is mentioned is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 31. The first time. And in that instance, forsake is mentioned is that the Most High is not going to forsake us. And then the second time that forsake is mentioned, according to the King James Version, is Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 19. And this forsake says, take heed to yourself that you forsake not the Levite as long as you live upon the earth. How many of you right now living on earth? I intend to go to other planets, but how many of you living on earth right now? I'm living on earth, Rabbi. I'm living on earth and I'm loving earth and I'm dominating. I've been given dominion over this earth that I'm living on. So if you upon the earth, then this pertains to you and me, because I'm on the earth as well. Really love the earth. Take heed to yourself that you forsake not the Levite as long as you live. As long as you live upon the earth. And how many of you are living? You may have life, but how many of you are living? And this is what we get ready to find out right now. See, we're going to separate those that have life and then those that are living. There's a big difference. There's a lot of people, zombies have life. Right? How many of you like to watch them zombie movies? Zombies have life, but are they living? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? But are they living? Are you going to go eat chicken and waffles with a zombie? No, the zombie's not. He not living. You're going to go to the steakhouse and have a steakhouse with the zombie not live, but he has life, but he's not living. Torah, and being under the umbrella of the Torah, teaches us how to live. Just live, baby. You have life, okay, but now live that life. How am I going to live that life? How do you want to live that life? Through Hashem. And to do that, you have to have instruction. You need somebody to teach you. Look at the pattern. When Moses came, when the Hebrews and the strangers that were among them came out of Egypt, did they come out like some kind of ragtag, disorganized, crowd of people? Look at our holy books. Look at our history. Compare that to what's going on over there right now, Ukraine. Man, them people running like cucarachas when the lights come on. They trying to come in. They don't have this. Everything's not coordinated. Everything's all discombobulated. People confused. Do you see the difference? Yeah, they call that an exodus. That's what the news means. Oh, yeah, they're making this mass exodus. And everybody's just taking what they can take and, taking what they can afford to carry. And then they're just moving on to the borders. Yes, this is the historical exodus. I'm like, what the hell? That's not how my forefathers came out. When I read about, we didn't come out like that. We came out just like Yael Woman 10 say, looking like Mr. T. Everybody just giving us stuff. Here you go. Get on out of here. Take this, please go. Take you and your family and take your dog Billy and take Mama and them. And y'all just get on out of here. Go. Israel, the Hebrews came out with a leader. Look at the pattern. So when they began their sojourn, when they come out of that slavery, that bondage, you see, Israel was being transferred. The Hebrews were being transferred from just being on a job. I mean, come on, man. And you're absolutely right. We need to come out of the mindset of having a job. That's not who we are. When we were enslaved in Egypt, our forefathers had jobs. What's your job? I make bricks. Okay, well, what's your job? Yeah, I make bricks too. And then what's your job over there? Oh, yeah, I make bricks. They had a job. I'm not knocking job, but I'm just saying we need to elevate beyond just a job and think more what? Entrepreneurship. Think about that for a minute. See, because that's what Moses was propelling the Hebrews into. Okay, you're going to leave this job, and now you're going to come into my business. I'm going to teach you how to be a business person. Let's go out here and let's wonder for a minute. You're going to survive. Everything will be okay. You're going to have food, clothing, and shelter. Matter of fact, your shoes not even going to wear out. Whoa. You mean to tell me my Nike's not going to get dirty? No, your Nike's good. Well, good shit. That's what happens when you get out of that job mindset. That job mindset keeps you attached to somebody. But when you're free, you're able to, provide a business for somebody else. You're in business, and then you're able to assist others because you all have talents. The Hebrews had to get out and realize, man, look, we got talents and abilities. You all need to understand this on a bigger level. Think about this for a minute. Our prior civilizations that they said were nothing, man, these civilizations were very skilled at many things that we're just now coming to know and understand. Listen, while some people was living in caves, other people were living in castles. You all understand that? Think about this for a minute. You had some people, and they got the museums. You go see them, caveman-looking folks. You had other people at that same time living in freaking castles, man. Kings and queens, right, Oliver? Yeah, come on now, y'all. But again, it's all about your environment. And what I want to tell you today, more than anything, family, is stick with the environment of the Kohen and don't forsake him. Stay with him while you're on the face of this earth. He'll never leave you or forsake you. He won't. But you can't forsake him. It goes both ways. It's two sides to it. You see, people blaming God for not being there, but they're the ones that are not connected to God because God ain't never went anywhere. God is with them wherever they go, but they haven't made that connection yet. You see, and a lot of folks just never will. A lot of folks just never will. They never will. Mishpahah. I'm going to read it again. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 19. Take heed to yourselves that you forsake not the Levite as long as you live upon the earth. That's it. You believers in this Torah, you have embraced the Torah as your way of life, your way of living. Then this is for you. This is real. This is for me. This is real. This is who we are. We're sojourners. We're sojourners. And believe me, you may be saying, listen, like Akoi said, and I will reiterate, this particular forum will always be open here on Power Talk. But it's going to take a step back to where we're going now. You're going to get it's just going to be even better because, we have lives, we have families, we have things that we want to do. Akoi is traveling. I'm starting to get on the road with traveling myself, And so we need to utilize these technologies that we do have to really stay connected to the family. We're not stationary people. We're moving people. We're on the move. You're mobile. You're a sojourner. It's time to pick up the tent. Question is, are you going to take the journey? Forsake not yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what you want. And you have to make that decision. But there's more to you than just what you see now. There's a lot more to you. You're successful. You're inventive. You're creative. You can have and do whatever you want on this earth. A lot of folks not telling you this. A lot of folks keeping the secret to themselves. And I get that. I get what they're doing. They're trying to preserve what's theirs. Do you not think the Most High, this is one of the greatest things that he did by dispersing us in these nations to preserve us, to keep us safe. like Kohen said, I give thanks and I'm so grateful. I don't have no bomb dropping in my garden in the backyard. Got clear skies out here, beautiful plants growing, peaceful and quiet as can be. I mean, my goodness. We have so much to be grateful for and thankful for. But we focus on all the negativities that are around us. So we need to learn to unlearn. And we need to stay connected and not forsake our Kohen in the gate and support our Kohen in the gate. Because get this, when we support the Kohen in the gate, we actually support ourselves. We're actually assisting ourselves and making ourselves better. So what you see here, me speaking here, will be the last lecture, that I speak to you in this forum this long. The Pal Talk forum will always be open, just as Abraham's doors were always open for those to come in and get a meal. But here's the difference. You're going to come here and get a meal, but with the Kohen, you stick with the Kohen and don't forsake him, you're going to learn how to cook your own meal. See the difference? See, there's just a lot of folks, they just want to come get a meal. How many of you women, you understand what I'm saying here? I want you all to understand, family, so there's no confusion. I want you all to understand. Do you want to just come here and get a meal? Because this is going to be open for you to get a meal. You come in, you get a little meal, you get that little Happy Meal at McDonald's, and you're good, until your stomach start growling. You see, but with our Kohen, you're gonna be continuously taught how to do what? How to cook your own meal. See what I'm saying? You don't have to run to the doctor. Show me anywhere in our Torah where any of our patriarchs ran to the doctor. He says, yeah, now Moses, he went to the doctor because he had this ailment, and yeah, Jacob too, and Isaac's medical plan. You don't see that. Running to nobody's doctor. You connected to the doctor. He's going to teach you, okay, this is what you need to do to be your own doctor, Brother Davis. Nehemiah, be your own doctor. Here, ingest this, and this will better this. Or don't ingest this, and you will prolong your life. How many doctors are saying that? No, they're telling you just the opposite. Hey, pop this pill, do this, do that, and then do this, and then, yeah, you'll prolong your life. But then, wait a minute, you'll prolong your life, but then you're going to have to deal with these other 15 ailments behind popping that one pill. That's the system, man. And guess what? At the end of the day, they're making money out of that system, aren't they? A lot of money. So this is what's important for us to understand going forward. And you may say, well, that's kind of harsh. The Kohen said, well, he's kind of being selfish. He said, well, he's there. He's only here for Israel. Well, no, he's just stating the facts. I don't care. How many of you believe that Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus of Nazareth, walked the face of this earth? Historically, you believe that. I can give two hoots on what your stance is, if he's the Messiah or not, the Mashiach or not. I give two hoots. Put up an M if you believe that there was a man and he walked this earth and he did great things. And some people call him Jesus, some people call him Yahushua, some people call him, Hosanna in the highest, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Get what this man said. And people have adopted him. To top of your responses. People have adopted this man and taken him in. And, his teachings and his sayings, they've taken all that in. And they teach that, and people believe that this man, this great man, was the Messiah and came for them. They believe that. They've taken and they make doctrines and traditions that this man came for me. He came for me. He came to free me. But if you have the Abrahamic-Faith Bible or the Hidden Hebraic Scrolls, you'll understand. And even in the King James Version, King Jimmy tells you that Yeshua ben Joseph said that, hey, I've come not but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Well, wait a minute. Is he being selfish as well? That's who he came for. That's who he came for, to die for that, Nehemiah. Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. Isn't that sort of like what our Kohen just told you? Look, I'm here for Israel. Look, he's stating the facts. This is just the facts on the ground. Now, a lot of folks can't handle the facts, and that's why they no longer hear, or that's why they don't show up, or maybe they'll listen in later when they're in one of the moves where they just need a pick-me-upper. Oh, let me go on YouTube and just listen to this lecture because I just need a pick-me-upper. No, I'm always up. Baruch Hashem. I don't need a pick-me-upper. Why? It's because I stay connected to the Kohen, and I listen to his teachings, and you know what? I act upon this instruction, and it has been beneficial to me thus far, and it will continue to propel me to be beneficial to me, and not only me, my son Nachshon, and his son's sons going forward. Baruch Hashem. We are at a pivotal point. I'm getting ready to close, but I want you all to understand. And for those of you who I call you doers. When you're doers, man, there's going to be great lectures going to be coming out, and you're going to get them in your email. So be looking at your emails because you're going to be getting them. Because there's more for you. Because there's a big difference between the milk and the meat. I got a whole lecture on that that I'm going to give to you guys. That's coming out. It's marinating right now. The milk and the meat. But the key ingredient in the milk and the meat that's in both the milk and the meat is what? I'm going to give it to you. H2O, water. And you see, right now, there's going to be a lot of folks that's going to get dried up quick. And they're going to run. They're going to want to be running to the milk and the meat because they're going to get dried up. Because like I told you earlier, Power Talk, this forum is going to be open. But you're going to get a little water. That's all. You're not going to get no milk and meat. Milk and meat is coming to the door. Baruch Hashem. You all hear that, family? Milk and meat is coming to the door. Water, all humanity can get some water, right? Do you see? Look at how the earth is made up. When you look at the topography of the earth, what's the percent land mass to water? Can anybody tell me? Somebody want to get with Uncle Google? But I mean, just think, these are facts. Nehemiah likes to say big facts, and it's true. What's the percentage of how much earth there is on earth opposed to how much water mass there is on earth? Think about that for a minute. Stop on your responses. Isn't that something? What is it? Sito Yacht, 25% land mass, 75% water? So water is freely available to everybody, right? The earth was made that way for water to be 25%. It's available to everybody. Everybody can get water. I mean, 75% water. So everybody can get them from water. But again, what kind of water you drinking? Just like I said, what kind of milk you drinking? Do you get it? You'll be able to drink some water. You see? You'll be able to drink some water, but will that water be beneficial to your body? Will it nurture you? Or will it just dry you up? Will it just dry you up? Oh, there's all a big connection. To tell y'all, big connection. We all connected to the universes, to this earth. We all connected. We were formed from the dust of this earth and breathed the living life that was breathed into us of the Most High, that DNA that we can't run away from. That's why I'm telling you, you all getting ready to experience this. For those of you who don't want to stay connected, you're going to realize, wow, there's something missing. There's something missing. I haven't been getting our Kohen's meat, and I just feel like something's missing. So think about that for a minute, Mishpahah. This is a pivotal moment for Forever-Israel. Because we're moving on. We're going to the next level. And we're taking the doer with us. Only the doer is coming because that's just it. Look at the pattern of our history. You see? I want you all to see this. Moses came out with all those men. We're talking about census, so we all deal with the men right now. Women, you follow your man, Baruch Hashem. But, you come out with all those men, and they were all promised the same thing. What? Land flowing with milk and honey, land flowing with milk and honey, land flowing with milk and honey, correct? But again, all those men that came out, looking like Mr. T, as Yael Woman of 10 said. You come out looking like Mr. T, everybody happy, everybody's, feeling full of joy, on all, and let's remember the promise that on all that, how many of those men coming out of Egypt actually walked in the land flowing with milk and honey? Woo wee! Think about that one. Meditate on that one these 6 days. Think about that for a minute. Wow. How many of those men? Think about that for a minute. That's, for what we understand, they said about 600,000 men, according to the footnotes that we get in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Says it's about 600,000 men. We're not counting the women and the children. Isn't that something? And they all were under the leadership of who? Moses and Aaron, but mainly Moses leading them out. Moses had the staff. Aaron had a staff too, but Moses had one bigger. Think about that for a minute. So we get it. A lot of people just not going to stick with the code. I understand it. It's going to be that small group. But that's when the Most High going to magnify himself with the small. You don't want them big groups. A lot of folks, okay, I want to go over here because they have bigger numbers. Well, go ahead on over there with your bigger numbers. You see, because it's not about quantity with me. It's about quality. What's the quality? What do you get? Go drink those waters over there. See how they be. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're not telling you over there, oh, stay away from milk. They're probably not telling you that either. Right? They're not teaching you how to be a doctor. They're not teaching you how to be in business for yourself. Think about that for a minute. There's a war going on right now, Mishpachah. And how we living? We living large and we living in chunks, aren't we? And we're benefiting from it. Why? Why is that? Think about that for a minute, Mishpachah. I want you all to consider this. This is a day where you can actually, sit back and you can rest. This is a day where you can remember. Shabbat is that day for you to just say, okay, to reflect. All these R words. To recuperate. But I want you all to remember it and just think about that. Reflect on what the discussion was today. And let's see where it takes you. But okay, so let me put this out. So now you need this instruction. So look, if you guys you came in late, we're going to leave this Power Talk forum open, but we're only going to just kind of breeze over the parsha. But the doers are going to get the meat and potatoes of the lectures, and they're going to be given via email. So if you need to, you can go to our website. The website is posted here on the top, Abrahamic-Faith.info or forever-Israel.com. And you can contact us that way. There's an email address on there as well. You can get in contact with us and say, hey, I want to be a doer. I'm in the doer crowd. I know who you are, the ones that are already doing it, the ones that you do send your tithes and your offerings to me. I know who you are. You know who you are. You've been doing it for a while. And you guys are going to be the benefactors. You guys are going to be the benefactors of instruction that you need. And more importantly, during this time, there needs to be great instruction given out, wise instruction that's going to benefit from, So I think it's very, very important that we do that. Shalom, I am at an urgent care, having been in the remainder of the corn chip shard removed from my big cut toe. It was my slipper. It feels like a thorn, bleeding profusely. Be well soon. Now, Baruch Hashem. Get it taken care of and dealt with. Take care of your body. Remember, this is a Shabbat. Shabbat is all about life and living life. So live your life and take care of yourself. If the donkey's in the ditch on the Shabbat, you're not going to get the donkey out of the ditch? Of course you are. More importantly, you're going to take care of yourself. Apple of the Most High's eye. Oh, yeah, you're going to take care of yourself, and the Most High is going to make sure you're taken care of. Shabbat shalom, John. In all your glory. So, that's where we are. And that's what we're going to do going forward. So I say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. Mishpachah. You guys, now the doing is going to be put to the test. You guys can contact us if you have any issues, you have any concerns. But again, if you're not on that email list, only so much is going to be given to you going forward. Just letting you know. The Torah, we got to guard this Torah. Remember, I've always been saying that, is that this Torah has to be guarded. And this is one of those things that we're doing right now, is we got to guard this Torah for our family going forward. We are the guardians of this Torah now. We're not going to just take it and just throw it out there to the wolves and to the pigs and all that. No, we got to take it and we got to guard it. And we will look at the evidence and the action of the doer and then make our judgments based on that. The doer is the real Israel. The watcher are the fake ones. The non-doer, the procrastinator are the fake ones. They're fake. Just like they have fake news. You got fake Israel, and then there's real Israel. We all know that. Not to get into that. If you don't understand that, believe me, get the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. It'll explain it. Yes, my son. So I say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Great 6 days of labor ahead. We keep it moving forward. Hakohen, if you have any last, anything, before we go, does anybody have any questions on what we just said? I'm going to turn it over to Hakohen, but I'll leave it open. Even the mic, if you want to pick up the mic and you have a question. But I'll be the first to thank Hakohen for what he's doing. And I'm with you, Hakohen, till I take my last breath. And then you have Nachshon coming up behind you. Oh, yeah, Nachshon. Okay. But if you guys have any questions, we'll give you the mic. You guys can, voice your opinions, anything like that. And you're more than welcome. Yuzuri, welcome. Believe me, Nehemiah has brought you to a great place. But it's your decision on where you want to stay. Put for yourself. Okay. Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom. Over to you, Hakohen. Over to you. Papa, make this thing, you make many noise, Nachshon. Hold on, let me give this mic.
Yes, and for that, Rabbi Kefa. Before I close the class, I want to give you two short testimonies. There was this girl this week that I went to a meat shop, where they sell beef, and I wanted to get some liver for my dog, Maggie. And I was standing there, and this girl, two girls came, and they were beggars basically. One was holding a little child, a baby, maybe less than a year old. She was carrying it, and she came and she said to the man who was selling the meat, she said, "Can I have some stomach, cow stomach?" And he said, "Yeah." And she asked him the price. And then he weighed up the cow stomach that she asked, and it turned out to be, I think she asked for maybe, 2.5 kilos or somewhere there. And he said, "This is 3 kilos." And she was about $0.50 short. I mean, think about it. 50 cents short of paying the other half a kilo. And so he said to her, take the 3 kilos. It's only another $0.50 in value, local currency. And the girl was quiet because she probably didn't have the money. She didn't say nothing. And I spoke to the guy and I said, I will pay the half. I will pay the $0.50 for the girl, and you can give her the 3 kilos, the stomach that she wants to take for her family. So I just handed the money to him, and he prepared the meat and gave it to her. This is one testimony that I wanted to show you how, we can be kind to other people. And then I was going home in my car, and I saw that girl with another, with another girl. These are all beggars that they live on the outskirts of city. And she was holding the same kid, the same baby. And I showed my wife, I said, "Look at that girl. That's the same girl we saw in the shop." And she said, "Oh, yeah, that's the same girl." I said, "She's taking that stomach." It was fairly cheap in price in terms of kilos. And I said, "Look, she's taking that stomach for her family." And the missus goes, Yeah, these are beggars, aren't they? I said, yeah, but I said they're human beings as well. They feel like eating um, the cow as well sometimes. They feel like eating beef because, who knows what their life is like. So I said they're humans, and we need to think about that. If we feel like eating beef, then sure, they feel like eating beef as well at times. So, you can be kind to people. It doesn't mean that your kindness is enough. Your kindness is your Torah to the world. That's one thing. Second thing I want to tell you, this is going to be a little hard, and those of you who can't stomach it, you can leave the room because I'm going to tell you a truth on the ground now that you've got no idea of, that what kind of person that you're dealing with, and what kind of power this person yields, what kind of authority he yields. I had a girl, a woman that had a businesses, I would say. She had a very expensive car, house, salons, beauty salons, and I won't give you the full details, but I'll tell you this much. Her ex-husband, he had a lot of authority in that city where she lived. And he came one day and he, said to her, wielding his gun, that I want you to put the properties, your car and everything in my name. And then, of course, he probably beat her up. He then brought his friends. They raped her multiple times. And after that, he sold her to a gang. And she ended up, guess where she ended up? In Dubai, in a gang's hand. And in Dubai, I'm sitting over here, and I could be anywhere in the world. And there was somebody in Dubai who knew me, and this woman knew me. And she said to this woman, this person, she said to this person that was there, she said, such and such person I know, can you reach out to him? And can you ask him to assist me? And, because they were going to torture her, they bought her for a price. They were going to sell her on. This is human trade, by the way. It happens all over the world. And probably she's going to be, now if she can't pay, because she's already lost her property that was in the country. She lost her salons. She had to name those things to the ex-husband, who was very wicked. And then her life was now in stake. And so I speak to this person, and this person says to me, this person, by the way, is works for the gang. And he says to me, do you know this woman? He sends me a message, and he asked me, do you know this woman? And I said, yes. What's the woman saying? And the woman's asking for, mercy, help, and all the other shebang to get her out of there. And so this person says to me, what do you want us to do? Because this woman has no money to give us. But she actually had houses to sell in Australia, by the way. 2 houses that I knew this woman had in Australia to sell. So I said, so now it was life or death situation. I could have said to this person, I don't care, do whatever you want to with her, kill her, I don't care. And she would be killed. She would be dead in 2 seconds. They would shoot her and throw her outside. Or I could say, no, don't kill her, have some mercy, let's talk about this, a way out. And so this is what I did. And I told the person, I said, no, don't beat her up. I said, what is the condition of the woman? And I was told that she was badly beaten up, from the ex-husband. She had multiple wounds. She had a bleeding uterus because she was, unfortunately raped many times. And now she was, sitting there dying. And so I said to the person, I said, don't kill her, and don't beat her up, and don't starve her, because she can't pay you. So I said, you got to allow her to go back to her country of origin, which is Australia. And I said, you got to allow her to go and make her money, whatever your ransom money is that you want, and you got to let her pay you that. I said, first, you get a buy-in from this woman. Is she willing to do that, in all honesty? Because if she is, she'll say yes, and if she isn't, she'll say no, I can't do that, or yes, I can do that. So the person goes and asks the woman, and the woman says, yes, give me a chance, I will do that. And then you know what happened? That could something that would never happen. The person that was there, part of the gang, was going to fund this woman's to go to Australia. And this wasn't a small amount of money, by the way. It was a lot of money. And when that person told me about the COVID test, I was like, my goodness, you telling me that COVID test in Dubai cost this much money? And the answer was yes. And you know how much the COVID test was? Let me tell you what the COVID test price was. I've got it over here. That I was told that the COVID test price is, let's see, $857. Listen to this. A COVID test in Dubai was costing $857. Then she had to have her ticket money and other things, and it amounted to, my goodness, it kind of went up, skyrocketed to how much? Let me see. Let's see. You know, you're gonna have a hard time fathoming this, and it was. Let's work this out. How much that was? Let me tell you. Over $6,000. Yeah, Brother Davis, 4,000. It was over $6,000 to send her back, to fund her ticket, and they had to send another person with her who's going to be watcher, and if she does anything wrong, they're going to shoot her on sight, by the way. This is how the gangs work. And I said to them, well, here's the deal. I won't give you the full details, but I tell you, I said, look, how about you fund this girl? Majority of the funding will come from you, and some will come from me, but majority will come from you. And it will be an IOU. And I said, it will be on my trust. It will be on my word. And the person said, okay, done. And this girl was released. A girl that was going to be killed outright and probably end up in the grave was saved because of my intervention. And this is the kind of authority that God has put me in. And that was one girl. But I didn't tell you about the 4 girls' lives that I saved in India. You know, those 4 girls are alive today because of me. And I've never met those girls, by the way. I've never met them to this day. And maybe one day I will meet them. But right now, I haven't met them. So my point is this, that the work I do, you can't even fathom that work. You don't even know where to start. You don't even know the kind of people that connect with me, you know, high up from the military and from the so-called, you know, gangsters, you know, who even know me. And they send their shalom to me. They even know me. That there is this person over here and he is a House of Israel person. This is the kind of people that I am aware of, and I don't sit in their midst. They know me, and I send them, sometimes, I may send them a request and say that such and such person, such and such family has been lost or disappeared. Do you know of that person? Is he with you? Is he with another gang? Because women are unfortunately sold in this country for money. And there's a price tag. And you know what the price tag for a woman over here is who's sold? Let me tell you the price tag for a woman who's sold. In this country, women are sold for a price of about $3,000. It reminded me of 30 shekels of silver. In the old days, the Torah said that in the ancient times, 30 shekels of silver was put as a price of a human being. And today, a woman over here is sold for $3,000. But they don't They purchase a woman for $3,000, and you know what they do? Then they want $10,000 for her. Yeah, they sell her on. Either they sell her on, or they say to the parents of the girl or whoever the relatives are, send us $10,000, or your daughter goes, dead, or she goes and gets sold on to somebody else. That's a story that we're dealing with. I mean, I remember when Mr. Trump became the president, he came really hard on people who were in this kind of trade in America. And there was a lot of people trading in that over there, and crossing the border through Mexico and Peru and other countries. They were bringing in women that were selling probably on the streets of New York. And it's such a, what can I say? It's such a bad trade. But it happens. So, these are the kind of things sometimes I got involved with over here trying to save lives. Human trafficking is just such a bad business, such a evil kind of business, but it's happening all over the world. And yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Again, we come back to milk, and they tell you that milk is good for you, but the truth is that milk actually, makes your bones brittle. They never tell you that it leaches calcium out of your bones. Do they ever tell you that on TV? They will never tell you that on TV. And how many of our people in America and general population in America, how much of the general population in America is suffering from different kinds of diseases? If pharmaceutical companies were there to save lives and to cure diseases and to eradicate diseases, how come we are still dealing with cancer? How come we're still dealing with heart attacks? How come we're still dealing with, stones in the kidney and kidney failure and other things like that? That's a question that you each have to ask yourself. If pharmaceutical industry is so kind, then why are we still dealing with all these illnesses? Because it's the food that creates the illness, and then the pharmaceutical company simply finds a way to cover it up, like putting covering on it. Medicine they give you is a covering. They put a covering on it, but your illness never goes away. Majority of the people die. Some people survive it, and others don't. I had a person in Karachi, a woman who's a widow, and she lost her second son. It was about a week ago, by the way, and he developed cancer. And I met the person when I was there. I met him, and he's a young man, and he developed cancer of the tongue. And then they took the person to hospital, and they put him on chemotherapy. And I said to my student when I was sitting there, and I said to my student, because they were his relatives, I said to him, this is a very bad idea, chemotherapy, because chemotherapy will end up killing him. So I don't agree with it, because I know what it does to a human body. And he was like, well, it wasn't, of course, it wasn't his call, because it was the other woman's call and the family's call to do that. And so they did. And, he took about 3 chemotherapy sessions. And the person, last week died. And then there you have it. And I was saying to them that be careful of what medicines you give him, because the medicines will likely kill him and not save him. And that's exactly what happened. Now, there's another testimony, and I think the person's in the room as well. So I won't name him, but I'll give his testimony, that he told me that there was a time when he was driving Uber taxis, and he would get all sorts of problems, accidents, other issues occurring with his car, frequent accidents, because he had people, because he had ancestry and family back from Africa, and he had people doing witchcraft against him. So I told the person, I said to him, a student of mine. I said to him, I said to him, do this, get a little mezuzah for the car and put it in the car. And then these accidents that you're getting, we'll see, what happens after that. They should stop. And so he did. He got a little mezuzah. He put it in the car because you can get car mezuzahs. So after put the mezuzah in the car, the accident stopped. And now the person spoke to me, in fact, yesterday, day before yesterday, and said to me that, Hakohin, I'm having another problem, an issue. I know last time you helped me as well. I'm having this issue where I done all my training that I was doing, programming and everything that he was learning, and he's trying to apply for jobs now, coming out of the Uber taxis and going into his real career. And he was, I told him what he needed to do to get the interview. And he did that, and he got an interview for a $160,000 job. But he said then after that, he said things went quiet. And then he talked about, having, again, issues with the witchcraft in the family. And he said that, jobs are coming now. He's doing his thing. He's getting the interview, but then the things go quiet. So I told him, I said, yes, because there's two problems that you need to deal with. So I gave him a solution to those two problems. And after that, things will move on higher up. So this is where we are. And so I want to leave you with these testimonies as an encouragement. And be encouraged. The Torah is very powerful. And the Torah saves lives, and the Torah blesses people tremendously. Those that practice even some of the traits of the Torah get blessed. Whether they are Hebrews or not. But imagine if you practice the Torah through the correct amount, then what kind of blessings that you will get in your life? Tremendous blessings. So I'll encourage you to be encouraged, be well, have a great week ahead, and a great Shabbat in North America. Over here it's already 9:30, and as you know, there's a war raging on in the east, in Ukraine and Russian regions. And and when Rabbi Kefa will do his private messages, his message, I will forward those. I have the email addresses of majority of the people, or at least what I know to be correct. And those of you that I don't have your email addresses, I'll ask you, and I will take your email addresses, and then if I'm missing anybody, then we can forward the message on, etc. So it will take us a little while to get things rolling. But I think Rabbi Kefa is going to be, like he said, he may travel, and I'm kind of sometimes traveling, sometimes stationary. But this is the life that we are in, and this is how the Hebrews are. We are sojourners and we are movers. Just like our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they were sojourners and they were movers. They never really stayed at one place forever. They were kind of moving after a while. They had one base, and then they had to move from one base to another, and then from another to another, and then back and forth it went. So with that, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Shalom. Have a wonderful day.